Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 24 of the P&J F1 Chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington, and sitting beside me is the man who he would have given the place back because he would have gained an unfair advantage. JB, how are you, my friend?
I think I'm still speechless, boys. It's been 18 hours since it happened, and I still can't comprehend it.
Dude, you made it sound like you've just got a confession at church. It's been 18 hours since my last confession, and these are my fucking sins.
Well, somebody may have sinned last night, but it wasn't me.
Or was it?
Maybe up to the end of the race.
Just sin after sin after sin after sin. And also joining us tonight, after he joined in last week and had such a blast, he's come back again. A man who, well, I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty sure he would have let the cars unlap themselves and then switch the safety car off straight after, just to really give it to Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff.
Just to chuck a bit of spice into that, into a bit of flavour.
A bit of flavour. It's Longhorn. How are you, my friend?
I'm excellent. What did we just witness, hey?
Well, you come back for a return tour of duty here.
Yeah. I'm glad. Thanks for having me back again.
That's great. That's great.
I love how you've picked the two best races of the year to just drop in.
Just thought I'd pop in.
Just thought I'd pop in to be
These are great races. Hi, guys. I'm here.
the most dramatic fucking races of the year, of the most dramatic season we've fucking probably ever witnessed live.
Made yous go through Monaco and Belgium, Spa.
Yeah,
and
Azerbaijan.
I watched rain for 3 hours and you've come in and it's just like, well,
The Spa, where we just had to sit there and come up with shit for
it's
hours.
like, oh, it's 1:30 in the morning and it's still raining.
I don't know if the race is going to be on. Let's talk to Michael Massey. Well, we've still got the safety car going around and around and around.
You know what didn't happen in Spa? A motor race. You know what did happen at Yaz Island? A motor race. Toto.
We went racing.
We went racing.
It's called a motor race, Toto. What a race it was.
Oh my God.
And the thing was, the race itself was rather procedural.
The race itself was like, you know those Bathursts where it's like boring as like the start's cool to watch and then it's boring for 6 hours and then with like the last stint, the last 30 laps, a safety car comes out. Sort of like this year's, but we've had like better ones.
I was thinking more the year that Jamie Whincup decided that he was going to
Run out of fuel.
Yeah, he's going to run out of fuel after his team kept saying to him, fuel save, and just ignore him and put your foot down.
And then Chaz Mostert comes out of the Forest Elbow and doesn't lead a lap all day and wins the race with half a lap to go. That's what this race felt like. That's what that was. That's the last time I was jumping around my lounge room like a fucking idiot. Actually, we were here. We were here watching that one. That was great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, jumping around my lounge room at 1 a.m, screaming my head off, didn't go down too well with the workmates, the housemates today.
Oh, I'm lucky I've got no neighbours either side of me, or they would have been up with me. Hey, I would have brought them in the living room too, started celebrating with me. Gosh,
yeah. I was in my brother's old room, so it's kind of soundproof in there. So no one else could hear me, but I was squealing like a stuck pig, just going, yes, come on, you bastard.
It's only as soundproof as you think it is. We would have tested it last night, mate.
But the race generally was pretty procedural.
Yes.
But it had enough tension behind it that it brought its own drama.
You just kept waiting for something to happen. You
It
knew something was going to happen.
It was one something away from igniting, and that something eventually happened.
But something else happened very early on. But we will come to that. In all of our excitement, we've thrown out the actual format of the show.
We're just...
Can't blame us after watching what we watched.
No.
All the excitement plus, like, the intro that everyone would have just heard.
It's a special episode, man. It's a celebration. It's...
Unless the FIA overturns it.
The FIA
then this entire episode is just redundant.
The FIA overturns our decision and YouTube has to ban us.
Yeah. So the race classification after 58 laps. See, I'm all excited. 58 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix from Yas Island. God, they named it after my sister. No wonder it's a shitty track. First place was Max Verstappen in the Red Bull Racing Honda. Second place was Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Third place was Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari.
It's amazing how many people got lost in the shuffle here because of what happened at the front. Carlos Sainz in third, Yuki Tsunoda in fourth, and Pierre Gasly in fifth, and Valtteri Bottas nowhere in sixth. Like, I didn't see him all race.
And the thing was, they would have been further down if Sergio Perez hadn't retired 3 laps from the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sad.
Seventh place was Lando Norris in the McLaren. Eighth was Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. Ninth was Esteban Ocon in the sister Alpine. 10th was Charles Leclerc. He had a really not great day at the office.
No, he didn't have pace at all, but spare a thought for Lando Norris, who would have been close to the podium, but for another slow puncture after Qatar.
He did well to get back to 7th, considering, because I think he dropped down to 10th or 11th.
Yeah, he did.
After it, with only, however many laps to go.
Yeah.
So, he did well.
Speaking of 11th, Sebastian Vettel for Aston Martin. 12th was Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren.
I don't know what happened with him.
It sums up Ricciardo's entire year.
Yeah. Like, why are you down there?
Yeah.
Why are you down there?
13th is Lance Stroll for the other Aston Martin. 14th was Mick Schumacher. That's got to be his highest finish.
Yeah,
he was a benefactor of a lot of people dropping out of this race, though.
Yeah. And he was...
But...
he was slightly involved in the Latifi thing.
As his dad says, and this doesn't count to Mick because he wasn't first, but to finish first you have to finish.
Yeah.
Well, to finish 14th, first you have to finish. Well done, Mick.
And 15th was Sergio Perez, even though he retired 3 laps from the end.
Mm-hmm.
16th was Nicholas Latifi in Williams. 17th was Antonio Giovinazzi in his last race in Formula One for the time being.
Yeah.
In the Alfa Romeo. 18th was George Russell in the other Williams, and coming in dead last because Mazepin couldn't compete because he had COVID.
Probably for the best.
In last place was the man, the myth, the legend, the king of Bois, Kimi Räikkönen, in his final ever Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's a sad way to end his career, but he didn't seem too phased when he was in the media pen.
No, I don't think
because he's just like, hey, I could go crack a crown now.
Nothing phases him, mate.
I'm going to go up to the club and watch the end of the race from up there.
And he would have done it.
He probably would have. He would have found the biggest bottle of Grey Goose vodka and just cracked it. There's novelty fucking 3-liter fucking. He would have just cracked it and walked around with it probably.
I think he would have cracked it, sculled it, then tried to walk around.
And then grabbed an ice cream out of the freezer.
Yeah.
Because it's Kimi.
And Max Verstappen had the fastest lap.
And Kimi Räikkönen was driver of the day.
I was getting
Most importantly.
I was getting to that.
Yeah, well, I beat you.
Okay. So, JB.
Yes.
What happened?
What happened, you ask?
Yes.
And if none of you watch this race, well, it's a bit like Bathurst. You really only have to watch the last 5-10 laps.
Well, you got to watch the first couple of laps.
You got to watch the start, and then you got to watch the end, and you can say you watch Bathurst. This race is the same.
Yep.
First 10, last 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, lap 1. Max Verstappen starts on pole with soft tyres. Lewis Hamilton in P2 on the medium tyres, with Lando Norris behind them, also on softs. Lewis Hamilton jumps Max off the start. Norris running wide, letting Perez into third. Lewis Hamilton runs wide going down into turn 6, with Max Verstappen trying to get up on the inside of him, possibly having to give the place back to Max. Lap 5, Michael Massey confirms there is no investigation necessary, as Lewis had given the advantage back. Yeah, whatever that means. Lap 9, Max Verstappen tells his team the rear tyres are starting to struggle. Lap 12, Lewis Hamilton continues to pump out the fastest laps, his lead out to 4.6 seconds. Lap 13, Lando Norris told he is losing gears in his gearbox. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen pits for hard tyres in what should be his one and only stop. Charles Leclerc nearly having a monster crash in turn 2, saving a big slide. Lap 15, Lewis Hamilton pits for a set of hard tyres. Sergio Perez told to play the team game in the hopes of slowing down Lewis by staying out a little longer. Driver of the day should have been Sergio Perez, just quietly. I know it was Kimi's last race. Lap 18, Max gets past Carlos Sainz for P3, which will equate to P2 when his teammate pits. But lap 20, Sergio Perez holds off Lewis Hamilton as best he could, holding off Lewis and overtaking him down the back straight. Lewis gets back past him on lap 21, but the gap to Max Verstappen has closed from 6 seconds down to 2 seconds. Lap 26, Kimi Räikkönen damages his car. The rear brakes looking up into the chicane down the back straight. Meanwhile, George Russell's Williams gives up the ghost as well. Both drivers retiring from the race, Kimi's career coming to an end. Lap 30, Red Bull suggested two-stop strategy to Max. Lewis and Valtteri Bottas given the hurry-up by Mercedes as their strategy battle begins. A lap later, Valtteri Bottas pits for hard tyres. And 3 laps later, he gets past Charles Leclerc for 8th. Lap 35, Antonio Giovinazzi stops on the side of the track as his gearbox fails. Virtual safety car is deployed. Lap 36, Max Verstappen pits for a second set of hard tyres while Lewis Hamilton stays out. Sergio Perez pits as well. Max Verstappen on lap 44 told he needs to take 4/10 a lap off Lewis to catch him. Lewis comes up to fighting back markers on lap 45 and gets past them. Lap 49, Lando Norris, unfortunately, forced to pit with a slow puncher on his deflating left front tyre, dropping him to 10th. Lap 53, a safety car is deployed, Max Verstappen pitting for soft tyres to chase Lewis. That's after Nicholas Latifi crash. I didn't add that in because my excitement levels were like bonkers by that stage. Lap 56, Sergio Perez forced to retire the car. I never found out what happened to him a lap from the end. Lap 57, Michael Massey orders the lapped cars to overtake the safety car, leaving Max behind Lewis on fresh softs. Toto erupts. Max gets past Lewis down the back straight and into the lead, winning the race and becoming 2021 Formula One World Champion. Hamilton finishes second and Carlos Sainz finishing third. So there you go. And Max, obviously, as we said, fastest lap, and Kimi Räikkönen, driver of the day.
There was some drivers on the grid that I sort of sat there and went, like, looking at the results where you sit there and go, what happened? You know, like Charles Leclerc, like, what happened to him? You know,
he had that. He nearly wiped out.
Yeah,
when Max was coming out of the pits, he had this massive slide. He almost had an airplane crash himself, but he managed to stay in the race. But I think he probably just struggled for.
He just got outdone by Carlos.
He's been outdone by Carlos all year.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, the final championship standings show that.
We will get to that later.
Yeah.
Same with Valtteri Bottas.
I don't know what happened to Valtteri, to be honest.
Just a nothing race for him.
He was just, I think he just wanted to.
He was stuck behind Sonoda for ages.
He was no selling.
Sonoda got in front of him, and then he couldn't get past him.
One of those just going through the motion races where he just wanted it to be over so he could leave.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get drunk, actually. I saw his video of him and Toto getting wasted on the fucking dance floor.
But, I mean, it was the same with Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. Like, they just had nothing races.
Nothing races, I think. Yeah, but by this stage of the year, all your components are worn out. Like, Lando Norris was losing, besides his slow puncture, he was losing gears in his gearbox.
Whole race.
Who was it? I'm pretty sure it was one of the AlphaTauris actually was having trouble upshifting. I think it was Gasly. Was actually having trouble upshifting early in the race. So, like, you're here, you've only got a certain allocation of parts by this stage or at the end of their life that you can't swap out unless you want to take a grid penalty, which none of the top teams were going to do. So you can't really tell, what overall car performance people had because, Lando was losing gears, Gasly was having problems. You don't know. Maybe Ricciardo was having a problem. I don't know. But a lot of these cars are at the at their expiry date by the end of this race, so you never really know.
The drivers too.
Yeah, and the drivers
this
are tired.
was the 23rd race of the season.
And the third race in a row in a fucking desert.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're all night races, it's still a fucking desert. Like...
But the thing is, they got to get used to it because they're doing it again next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably good training for them. I mean, that they're only getting 93 days off, and then we're in Bahrain.
We're doing it for the next 10 years, aren't we? Didn't they extend this track another 10 years? And
I mean, what did you guys think of the new layout? I don't think it promoted as much overtaking as they wanted it to.
No,
but I'm keen to see how the next year's cars go.
Yeah, if next year's cars, if they can follow better, like they're saying, I think this track could come alive.
I think that track will come alive, and I think Jeddah will come alive too.
Yep.
And Jeddah's early next year as well. Jeddah's the second race, so.
Yeah, but I'm
glad they tried something though.
Yeah, I like the I just like they got rid of a lot of the stupid chicanes that really weren't necessary, like the
one into the hairpin off the start.
Yeah.
Like I think they were turn 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And now turn 5 and 6 is the sweep up.
Yeah, that needed to go. That was a
dumb chicane.
Yeah. And the big Banky boy.
Yeah, another dumb chicane at the end of the back straight. I'm glad that's gone. Yeah. And they've opened up the hotel corners.
Well, they made this 10 seconds faster a lap by the changes they did.
And the race was 3 laps longer because it was faster.
Yeah.
I do think they should take some of the runoff away and put gravel traps.
I think they might have to.
Because, like all these Herman Tilke redesigns on tracks, or design on tracks, he puts all this runoff there.
Yeah, you need something to deter the Lewis incident.
Well, let's talk about the Lewis incident. Well, you brought it up. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, lap 1, turn 6.
Well, the explanation that I heard, was that because they kind of deemed it that Verstappen pushed Hamilton off, that the only course of action he could take was to keep going straight. So therefore, the advantage was nullified.
Let's keep in mind what happened last week in Jeddah when Max did the same thing. Max stayed on the track. Lewis shortcutted the chicane. So, if you didn't see it, Max pretty much got jumped at the start, but on soft tyres was able to catch Lewis up and basically dive-bombed him into the turn 6 chicane and got under him clean.
Stayed on track.
Got the move done clean, stayed on track. Lewis Hamilton shortcut the chicane and kept driving and wasn't told to give the position back because apparently he got down the road and the ruling was he slowed up enough that the advantage he had going into the corner was maintained, but the fact that Max actually led the race and was ahead by the time they got to the chicane,
he was ahead.
I don't understand what advantage he got given back.
He didn't get any back. That's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I watched it and he was like 1.9 seconds ahead by the time.
Yeah, he gained an advantage.
Yeah, he gained a lasting advantage because he didn't have an advantage when Max got to the corner because Max was leading the race.
Yeah, Max was in front when they got to the corner.
And this is the same thing that Max got done for in turn 1 and 2 in Jeddah last week.
Yeah.
Going off the track and gaining a lasting advantage and having to give the place back to Lewis twice.
Yeah.
Except this is the better of those moves because he stayed on track.
Yeah.
And Hamilton has to be aware Verstappen's going for that. Like, at the end of the day, Verstappen was ahead heading into the apex. He was actually ahead. So
Max told him from as soon as it happened, Max is like he's got to give it back.
Yeah, that's it.
And David Martin Brundle was like, yes, he does.
Yeah,
he has to give it back because has to give it back because that's the rules.
I'll get to the commentators soon because I got something to say about them.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I absolutely agree. And typically when Martin Brundle says what's what,
he's right.
He's right.
That's why he's got our vote for being the new Michael Massey. If Michael Massey wants to get out of Dodge before he gets before he gets assassinated or some shit, before his helicopter goes
missing. Before Totonator finds him.
Totonator's
the Totonator. Mercedes are going to
Come
unleash
with
on
me
him.
if you don't want to be Mikey. No, Mikey, no. Like, it's so shit when he's sitting there calling him Mikey.
Yeah.
That's when you sit there and go, are you paying him off?
Can I just say, what do you think of us hearing that in terms of, like, I mean, it adds to it in terms of, it adds to the drama.
There's no
and
secrets.
no secrets in a sense, but it also adds to this whole, we all sit here and think that they are in Massey's pocket in a sense because of the way they chat and go about things. Is it a good thing that we hear it, or do you think they should keep it away from us?
I like hearing it, but personally, I think it should be a one-way conversation where Michael Massey tells them what's going on.
It's like the NFL where
Yep.
the referee turns his microphone on to say what the penalty's for.
Yeah.
That's what I want Michael Massey. Like, I don't want to hear what the teams are saying to Michael Massey.
Yep.
I want to hear Michael Massey responding to the team for whatever incident it is. It's like, well, this is my decision.
Yeah, handing down the penalty. No lobbying from the teams.
I don't think the teams should be talking to Michael Massey. I think if something happens, Michael Massey and the stewards say yay or nay about something. Not Toto Wolff getting there going, Michael, we want to know about this, da-da-da-da-da. You shouldn't be talking to him. He should be paying attention to what's going on in the goddamn race.
Well, what did you think about Toto fucking telling him early in the race to not change the virtual safety car to a full safety car?
Yeah, see...
That's what I mean.
He's like, don't throw the fucking full safety car out. And he didn't. But is that bargaining? Like, I mean, in the same way, Michael Massey's offer last week to Max Verstappen to drop him to third behind Lewis so he doesn't have to do it on track or whatever.
I think it's a bad look for the rules.
Yeah.
I think the difference is that Michael Massey was saying to Red Bull, either get him to drop back or I'm going to give you a penalty. The ball is in your court.
I sort of like that they gave them the option though. It's like drop back now or drop back when we go green.
I don't mind that as long as they're firm on what the penalty is. No bargaining in terms of they can lobby to change it to something different. Like, this is the penalty, you can take it now or when we restart, it's up to you. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Yeah. But as long as I think the problem is we hear all the lobbying coming back. So it makes it feel like it's a discussion, not a penalty.
It feels like when a fucking footy captain runs up to a referee and tries to argue the point.
Yeah,
Paul
like,
Gallen.
I don't think we need. Yeah, I don't think we need to. I think you're right. I don't think we need to hear it.
I just think it should be.
I would like to hear, because it used to come up on the screen. Remember, it used to come up on the screen. It's like, race direction says, blah blah blah, 5-second penalty for blah blah blah.
And it still does.
Yeah, it still does. But if you're going to broadcast the FIA channel, have that, just have the decision come back. Yeah. I don't really want to hear what the teams are saying because it just sounds like they're trying to sway him. They're trying to bribe him or sway him.
Yeah, and that's why I think it should be just a one-way conversation. Like, they should not have access to call up Michael Massey.
Yeah, don't call him up because he says, how many times have we had it this year? I've sent you an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't send them an email. Don't allow them to personally talk to the race director. The team sends them an email, and Michael Massey will radio back from race control what his response is. But don't try and talk to him. Don't try and sway him.
They shouldn't be talking to him at all.
They shouldn't be having a full conversation. It should just be, Michael, I don't think this was right. And Michael will be like, we've decided that you're correct. It wasn't right, and we're not going to investigate it. Or we think you were in the wrong 5-second penalty.
I think the race stewards are smart enough to sit there and go, there was an issue there. And, I mean, they've got access to the team radio anyway, so they can hear the chatter say, Fernando Alonso sitting there saying he's pushed me off the track again.
Yeah.
And then they can sit there and investigate it.
And
without having to hear Christian Horner or Toto Wolff talking in their ear when they should be paying attention to the judgment they're about to hand out for whatever and what's going on in the race.
Yeah, you shouldn't be swayed or manipulated. Just come back with a decision.
I think for me, that's part of the problem that Michael Massey faces, is that everyone, particularly online, is criticising him. I mean, we did it last week.
Yeah, we ripped him to shreds last week.
Everyone criticises him because of what he has to do. But when you've got Toto Wolff, Christian Horner, the technical guy at Red Bull or whoever...
Yeah.
And everyone else in his ear every 2 seconds sitting there saying, well, what about this? What about that? But we don't agree with this. But,
Yeah, how can he focus on getting the penalty right when he's too busy focusing on talking back?
Because while he's
to
trying to
team
make the
principals.
decision,
Yeah.
he's got
Being
fucking
swayed.
2 arguments at the same time.
And the other thing is, and this is the thing that even we overlooked, is that he's the race director, yeah. He's got race stewards. Those 3 guys investigate stuff and give their findings to Massey, who then has to break the bad news.
Yeah.
Massey has control over the penalties and the safety car and VSC and all that type of thing. But when an incident happens, it's the stewards that check it and investigate it and examine the data and then give their findings to Massey, who then has to deliver the bad news or the good news or whatever.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me to another question. Should we have, set for the year stewards
Yes.
for each race rather than different?
Do we have alternating stewards?
Yes, we do.
Because all these rules lately have seemed to be up to interpretation, not black and white.
Yeah, which is
That's
been
why-
a problem.
Adding to the problem.
That's why I think we need 3 dedicated guys.
Yep.
And I mean, if you ask me who I think the 3 dedicated guys should be, Jacques Villeneuve, Kimi Räikkönen, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Kimi Räikkönen will not be seen in an F1 paddock ever again. I hate to break the bad news to you.
No.
Yeah, he's done.
He's
But
gone.
I mean, okay,
Maybe
take-
Mika Hakkinen.
take Kimi Räikkönen out of it. See, still Jacques Villeneuve, because Jacques Villeneuve is highly opinionated. Good, bad, or indifferent, he is highly opinionated and will just spit out his opinion, whether people like it or not. Same with Juan Pablo Montoya. Juan Pablo Montoya's got no qualms about telling someone to fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, look at him lamb-blasting Michael Schumacher. That takes fucking guts. Maybe I don't know. Certainly not Damon Hill.
No.
No,
No one British.
Maybe Ralph Schumacher.
Don't know.
But
I mean,
then again, he can't because he is Mick
Yeah.
Schumacher's
Has
manager.
to be people with no
yeah, you can't have anyone with any links.
affiliation
Yeah,
right now.
You got to get
know
him
what I mean?
out.
Yeah.
You'll need someone like a Mark Webber and
Yep.
a Mika Hakkinen and a fucking...
Well, Mark Webber does commentary for the BBC.
Yeah, but he's not affiliated with anyone anymore.
It's true.
You get maybe Jensen... I mean,
Yep, Jensen Button.
hypothetically, you could get Jensen Button and Nico Rosberg, but...
Felipe Massa.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pull them off commentary, but they need to be ex-racing drivers that are up to date with the current rules and the current cars.
Hulkenberg.
Yep. Yep.
Although he's trying to get back into Formula One, so I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But anyway, but we're right. I think we need, for the sake of consistency, it needs to be 3 guys every time, out of the rule book every time.
We need black and white.
Yeah,
This is
it
the rule.
Can't be up to
Can't be
interpretation.
interpreted. Can't be lobbied against mid-race.
Yeah,
And you need to cut the cord from team principals being able to lobby what they want
Yeah.
in the penalties so that the stewards and the FIA, Michael Massey, the race director,
yeah,
are taking the time to look at the penalty or whatever incident and make the correct decision to the rule book.
yep.
With no interpretation.
Take away radio control.
And then they just hand it
It's
down.
one guy. Delegate one guy to send an email to race control. And race control will radio their decision back.
Well,
Yep.
And that's the only communication. No begging, no bartering, no fucking bullshit.
There was one race there where Toto said to Michael Massey, I've sent you an email about technical data to do with the incident that happened. And Massey replied with, how many times do I have to say it? Don't send me an email during the race. I'm busy trying to actually watch the race. Just tell me over the radio.
Yeah,
okay, well, maybe.
You know? And I think that's a fair cop.
that adds to our point then that he's trying to focus. So if he hasn't got time to look at their emails, which of course he doesn't because he's got to watch the race, how does he have time to chatter back to these team principals that just whinge and moan and, their only thing to focus on in that moment is whatever the incident is. So they're just going to continue to fight their case. They don't have to make a decision other than they just want the rules to go their way. So how does he have time to talk back to them in a sense? It should just be quite simple as we're going to look at this incident, send that to the teams that the incident was involved in. They've got, say, a certain amount of time to email back a response or data or whatever their case is,
Yeah.
which gives them time to look at it And if they don't get it done, here's your penalty. That's what's in the rule book. I mean, most things, if we clear it up black and white with the correct stewards and no more interpretation of the rules, it shouldn't take long anyway, because it just be like, you've done this, this is the penalty.
Yeah.
States clearly here. You can't bend it like, you know.
Well,
we need to remove the grey.
Maybe
I think there's too much grey at the moment.
Maybe they need 5 stewards, 3 that watch like the video evidence, and 2 that analyse the technical data. So then Michael Massey can just deliver the bad news and just pay attention to what he's got to pay attention to, while the 5 guys go and examine all of that shit and then make a decision.
Why don't the 5 guys just fucking, deliberate over it, and then the 5 guys can tell him unanimous decision what it is, and then Michael can just be like,
and
he's watching the race, and just be like, look, the stewards have said this.
And
I agree with them, or I disagree with them.
No need to get on the blower and say to Toto, oh, well, Lewis Hamilton's going to get a 5-second penalty. Just put it up on the screen like everyone else at home. That's how the teams used to find out anyway. They would just get dumped on the screen and say, da-da-da's got a 5-second penalty, and then they
it just needs to be simplified, or it just needs to be black and white. We got to take the grey out.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the safety car incident then?
Yes.
Do you have the official statement up there? So, what are we thinking? What is this? This was lap 57 of 58.
Well,
pretty much what happened, Lewis Hamilton was leading, and there were 5 lapped cars between Lewis and Max. The rule states that every lapped car has to be let through, and then the following lap the safety car comes in, which had that rule been abided by, we would have finished the championship under safety car and Lewis would be champion.
Mm. And there would have been more lap cars to go through.
Yes, there would have been another
just the ones
5 out of the 8 went through.
Yeah.
But it was the 5 that were in between Lewis and Max that got left through. Daniel Ricciardo was behind Max Verstappen. He was a lapped car.
Yeah.
But he got to stay there because he wasn't in between them.
See, this is something that ever since they've brought this in, and it baffled Martin Brundle back in the day when they brought it in, with this letting lap cars unlap themselves and shit.
Yeah.
Why don't they just get the lap cars out of the way and let the cars that are in position
just move up? Yeah, why do they have to physically unlap themselves?
If they're lapped, what good is it to make them unlap themselves?
Why can't you just fucking take a lap, drop them to the back and take a lap off their fucking timing board? Yeah. It can't be that hard.
Mm. Yeah.
Drop them all to the back and fucking keep them in position and take a lap off their fucking time. They don't have to physically do a lap. But then the argument comes, their tyres are a lap newer. That's the only problem, is their tyres and their engine and their fuel level would be a lap newer. I guess having a lap of extra fuel would be, a burden, if you want to argue it that way. But if your soft tyres are fucking 2 laps old and the guy in front of you's got, a lap older tyres, I guess you could use it as an advantage.
But surely it's not that safe when you let unlapped cars get past the safety car and then they zoom around the track at race speed so they can re-catch up to the back of the tail.
Yeah.
If there's a safety car, surely to God, sending cars out like that is unsafe.
Well, that's what Michael Massey was saying. He's like, I'm waiting for the incident to clear. When Christian asked the question, he's like, why are these lap cars here? And he's like, give me a minute, I'm waiting for the incident to be cleared. But the problem Mercedes has is only 5 out of the 8 lapped cars were allowed to unlap themselves. And it was the 5 lapped cars between the leaders. Which means Carlos Sainz didn't get a shot at them. Carlos Sainz is probably the guy that got screwed over most here. But shall we read the actual statement?
Right. Well, we have the this is the argument after the race where they appealed it to the race stewards. It will be up on the screen, but I'm going to read it anyway. The hearing adjourned at 8:50 to allow Red Bull to consider its response in further detail and reconvened at 9:30. The race director was present for the reconvened hearing. 2. At the hearing, there were no objections against the composition of the stewards' panel. The parties set out oral arguments and addressed the questions asked by the stewards. 3. At the hearing, the parties referred to the documents submitted. Red Bull submitted graphical information, which we don't have. So the claims of Mercedes. Mercedes claimed that there were 2 breaches of the sporting regulations, Article 48.12. Namely, that which states any cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass the cars on the lead lap and the safety car. And once the last lap car has passed the leader, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. Mercedes argued that this had been complied with. Car 44 would have won the race. They therefore requested the stewards to amend the classification under Article 11.9.3.h of the FIA International Sporting Code.
Mm-hmm.
Red Bull's argument in defence. Red Bull argued that 1. Any does not mean all. 2. The Article 48.13 of the sporting regulations states that the message safety car in this lap is the signal that it will enter the pit lane at the end of that lap.
And it's mandatory.
And the race director has discretion on when he brings it in.
Therefore, Article 48.13 overrides Article 48.12. Number 4, that Article 15.3 gives the race director overriding authority over the use of the safety car.
Bingo.
And 5, that even if all cars that had been lapped, 8 in total, of which 5 were allowed to overtake the safety car, it would not have changed the outcome of the race. Now, one of those lap cars was Valtteri Bottas, wasn't it? Or was he on the lead lap?
I think he was on the lead lap.
Okay.
Daniel Ricciardo was the one that was stuck in the sandwich, really, because Carlos Sainz didn't get a shot at Max or Lewis. Not that he would have had the pace.
Because, part of me thinks that the reason why Michael Massey just let 5 cars go through was because he knew that the final 3 cars, if they were Mercedes powered and if Toto Wolff had said something, they would have buggerized around and stuffed about and not gotten on with it. And then the safety car would have been out there for another lap.
Well, Daniel Ricciardo was one of those, and he is Mercedes powered.
But
I don't think he would have been that guy.
No. But
I definitely think they just wanted those. He wanted the race to finish under racing conditions.
Like he
not a
said
safety
to
car.
Toto, we had a race.
Yeah.
We had a motor race. He wanted the 2 guys, 1 lap to give them the best chance to finish the race under racing conditions. And he did that. You know?
And
I think the problem was there were 3 more cars that had to get out, but they were coming into Sector 3. And Sector 3 is usually the point where the race director will say the safety car's coming in, because they were coming into the hotel park. So had they waited for the other 3 cars to go, they would have been 2 corners from the fucking start-finish line. That would have been probably too late.
Yep.
So, you know, he got it done just in time, I guess. I mean, you can see arguments on both sides, but Lewis, it's not like Lewis fucking started. You know, Lewis had the advantage. He started first. You know, he had the older tyres. And Mercedes had 2 chances to pit him.
Yeah.
they
and
didn't.
both times said, we don't want to lose track position. So that's on them.
Yeah.
Red Bull took the gamble to pit on softs.
Yeah.
You know, you could have taken the gamble, and Lewis could have. It could have been the other way around. Max could have been the one on old hards, and Lewis would have been the one on softs.
Yeah.
And Lewis could have won the championship from 2nd place.
Yeah.
But they weren't willing to lose track position, even though they had the faster car all day. What did they have to lose? What did they have to lose? If Max had tried anything and hit Lewis, Max would have got a penalty. Max probably would have been stripped of the title.
Yeah.
Like, what did Mercedes have to lose? It's Mercedes' fault for not grabbing their balls and fucking giving it a shot.
It was arrogance on their behalf.
Pretty much.
It was arrogance on their behalf to sit there and go, well, we're going to finish under the safety car.
They had the fucking Chaz Mostert Bathurst car all day. They were seconds faster than Max all day. Who cares if you're 3 or 4 seconds behind him? Not only are you faster, you would have got DRS, and you would have been on softer tyres and fresher tyres.
Yep.
I don't think Max would have kept Lewis behind him.
No.
Nah.
But they didn't take the gamble. Which is why Red Bull fucking...
I mean, Red Bull had
with
to.
their nothing-to-lose attitude.
Yeah.
And as Christian Horner said, we need a miracle from the racing gods, and he got one. that's why we got the finish we did.
And it is slightly calmer because
Silverstone.
Hamilton got away with. Sure, he was pushed off the track,
but he got away with a lasting
gained an advantage. He gained an advantage
and never gave it back.
And as I said, I think I said it to Fox Motorsport today. You know, the fucking global warfare that's going on in the comment section. I'm like, Lewis didn't have to give the place back at lap 1, and Max got the rub of the green with the safety car at the end. I think it's 1-1 in the racing gods department.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
Lewis got his advantage, and Max got his advantage. And at the end of the day, we had a one-lap shootout for the World Championship. And
the thing, like, I had a look, because I couldn't sleep because you two kept dinging me at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I wound up turning my phone off eventually.
But
I was running. I was buzzed, man.
So was I, too.
I was like a 6-year-old on red cordial.
I had a look on the Trollmuller 1 page, where they're still sitting there saying, "Oh, Michael Massey needs to go," but
has he changed his opinion? He was all about like Max Verstappen getting fucked over last week, and now he's like, Lewis got fucked over this week. Is he trying to be like unbiased here?
Is he trying to even it out?
Yeah, is he trying to play with a straight bat here?
If you look through all the profiles of all the people that are sitting there saying Lewis Hamilton was robbed, this is bullshit, they're all Pommy or they're all Indian.
Yeah, they've all got like
and then everyone
European
else
names.
that is not Pommy or Indian is sitting there going, well, you know, Max is the world champion. Deal with it.
Yeah. To the Irish guy that upped me on Twitter today asking me if I was drunk, isn't that a paradox? Aren't we always supposed to be drunk? Why is the Irish guy telling the Aussie if he's drunk? Of course I'm drunk. You're drunk too. Pot kettle black. But I mean, he's like, I was like, this is the best finish to the best season I've ever seen. And he's like, are you drunk? And I'm like, well, that was like 2 drivers going wheel to wheel. But besides that, I thought the Irish hate the British. Why are you a Lewis fan?
I don't know, but maybe he's more used to potato racing or something. I don't know.
That's it.
But for me, it ended, like you said, it was 1-1.
It was a championship deciding lap.
And
it's what this season deserved.
How cheap would it have felt if it had finished under a safety car?
It would have been disappointing.
It would have been shit. I would have felt robbed. I would have felt robbed as a fan. But I wouldn't have begrudged Lewis because he was the fastest driver.
Yeah.
And as I said, whoever wins this fucking championship has fucking earned it.
Yeah.
Oh, they both definitely earned it. And all of this talk, Hamilton on the day, I think he was fantastic. He didn't put a foot wrong.
No, he didn't.
He had the pace. He did everything right. And yeah, it didn't go his way in the end, and I'm super happy for it because I wanted Max to win.
Yeah.
Look, man, we all had an allegiance in the orange corner. Let's be real. But
yeah, it was there, but
I was fucking. There was 10 laps to go, and I was just sitting in my head. You know, Lewis is a fucking great champion.
Yep.
You know, he broke Schumacher's record.
Fair play.
I still don't rate him as the greatest of all time, but he's the greatest of this generation without a doubt. He was the fastest man on the day. I was happy to accept it.
Yeah.
Well, you just hit something for me when it comes to Lewis Hamilton, is that he will never be the greatest who ever drove, because since 2014, Mercedes has had everything almost given to them until now. You know, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like Longhorn, I don't know if you watched last season. I'm guessing you didn't watch last season.
You would have watched Drive to Survive, though.
Yeah, I watched Drive to Survive.
You might have,
but not. This was my first year of a full season of Formula One.
Mercedes got away with that DAS system, which I argue till the cows come home, that is a driver aid and should have been banned.
Yep.
But they said, oh no, we'll wait until the end of the season and then you can't use it. It should have been banned right there.
Yep.
Same
100%.
as the Racing Point got deducted X amount of points and X amount of...
Cost them third in the championship last year.
Yeah, because their car was a straight copy of the previous year's Mercedes.
Yeah, which Mercedes didn't stop.
No.
Mercedes didn't protest it. They're
no.
Like, it's just more tail-gunning power.
Yeah.
Mercedes have plenty go their way, so...
And
as controversial as this year was, they should cop it on the chin. Congratulate Max. Look forward to next year, because if we go back if we go back in history, there's that many occasions where Mercedes were given some form of bias or some form of ruling their way that we could criticise heavily, and they don't complain about it. They're happy to take it.
The same happened when Sebastian Vettel won his 4 in a row with Red Bull. The same thing happened when Schumacher won 5 in a row with Ferrari. The same thing happened in the 90s with the Williams, where, you know, Williams had an active suspension system that would digitally adjust the height going through corners and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even Niki Lauda and James Hunt.
Yeah.
The Ferrari had sway, and it saddens me to say that because I am a Ferrari supporter. But sometimes the Ferrari or the Mercedes or the Red Bull or the whoever is the team that's kicking ass at that time,
they've got to have a bit of clout.
They have some sort of sway or stroke so that they keep ending up the way they want it until you get to a 2005 where they get pegged back so much because they change the rules on tyres.
Yeah.
Or,
Red Bull's domination had to end. Like Sebastian Vettel had to lose a championship. We had to completely change the cars.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I honestly thought Lewis was going to win this championship, and the only way to stop Mercedes from winning is to change the regulations again.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that, thank God.
Thankfully.
I mean, nothing against Lewis, obviously, but thank God.
I will give Lewis credit.
Because then it would have felt like the 2022 cars were an excuse to stop Lewis from winning.
Yeah.
In the way the 2014 cars was an excuse to stop Sebastian Vettel from winning. In a way the 2005 cars was a way to stop Schumacher from winning.
Yeah.
And maybe after a while that is what it becomes. It's
Yeah.
like, how do we stop them? Because this is getting boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was.
It was.
I mean,
Like-
this is the best Formula One season we've had since
Ever.
Turbo Hydro, probably ever. And when we look back
I
at it in
can't
hindsight,
remember, like,
but
I'm trying to think back. Like, I don't even think Interlagos 2008 was as good.
I mean,
Or-
07.
07 with Kimi, 08 with Lewis. I can't remember a championship just being this intense to the final corner or the final lap. And the way it ended.
76. Hunt and Lauda.
Yeah, but that wasn't a straight fight. This was a straight fight. Like, 08, Lewis knew he had to get to 5th, whatever, to win the championship. 07, Kimi had to win the race, I think, to win the championship,
Yep.
and he knew that, and he did. This was a straight fight because points aren't awarded until the end of the race.
they both knew they had to
and they're
win.
going into turn 6 wheel to wheel. They're still equal in championship points at that stage.
Yeah.
One of them's going to be champion and one of them isn't.
Well, it's the first time in 47 years that the two title contenders have gone into the final race of the season on equal points.
And I don't know who won that championship, but I'll bet it wasn't as exciting as that. Like, I'm trying to think the last time a motor race had me that. I think Chaz Mostert, when he beat Jamie Whincup without leading a lap of Bathurst. Just what sort of come from behind. And correct me if I'm wrong, besides the pit stops, did Max Verstappen actually lead a lap?
No.
I don't think Max Verstappen led a lap of this race either.
No.
He literally did a Chaz Mostert.
Yeah.
He didn't lead a lap all day, and then with half a lap to go, he wins the race and he wins the world title.
Yeah.
That is movie script shit.
Oh, you couldn't have written this story better. Like,
you could put that in a movie and people would call it bullshit.
Drive to Survive next season is
Like-
going to be unreal
This is
with this.
This is going to be 2 episodes of Drive to Survive.
Easy.
They're gonna have to
Easy.
they're gonna have to cancel Drive to Survive after that though. They can't top that.
No.
Like, you could make this like Rush 2
Yeah.
and people wouldn't believe it because it was just that surreal.
Well, actually, the last time you had something like this intense was Prost and Senna.
Yeah.
Realistically, it was Prost and Senna, or it was Schumacher and Damon Hill.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Right.
just in sheer intensity, probably.
Yeah, sheer intensity and sheer will.
Because we've had Mika and Schumacher. We've had Alonso and Schumacher, which is sort of intense. Yeah, Vettel and Hamilton, whatever. Maybe Rosberg and Hamilton, but again, that's inter-team.
Well, I will get to him in a few minutes because I got something to say about him.
Again, that was inter-team. So I think in terms of pure team intensity, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
But Senna and Prost initially was inter-team.
Or Schumacher and Villeneuve.
Yeah, like just a genuine and fair play to them. They embraced and they sorted out their differences on the day, I assume. But I think there is a level of hatred, as Max said. Has your opinion of Lewis Hamilton changed this year? And he said, yes, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
I think Max Verstappen has a level of fucking hatred towards Lewis, which makes him fearless. I think Lewis has a level of hatred towards Max, which, because he wasn't ready, I guess he wasn't ready for it.
I will say this, though. Like, Lewis Hamilton, after he finished race, he looked gutted. I would be gutted too.
I'd be fucking gutted too. Like, I would feel... He has every right to feel like he was robbed because...
Yep.
But
maybe he was.
Sit in his shoes and you would...
Yeah.
And he had every right to...
Exactly.
Act that way, in a sense, like a lot of people would, but he didn't.
He held his head high.
Yeah.
He walked up to Miss Max.
Yep.
He shook his hand and he said, congratulations.
In his post-race interview, he was humble.
Which is something that Lewis Hamilton needed to have happen to him.
And I don't want to chip at Max here because he just won the title, but if it was the other way around, like I said earlier, had Mercedes boxed and put a set of softs on, and it was the other way around, and the cars were moved out of the way for Lewis to get behind Max, and Lewis wins the championship on soft tyres, would Max have acted the same way?
No, he would have been pissed.
He would have been fucking furious, so fair play to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, that's... I've been slagging off...
I've no doubt he went back to his fucking trailer and smashed everything, broke every window, and fucking kicked every fucking door. But at the time, Lewis held himself together.
The thing is, though, Lewis can't blame Lewis, he can't blame Red Bull, and he can't blame Max. The only people he can blame is his own team for not bringing him in for those tyres.
Yeah, but they were adamant that the safety car was going to be the end of the race.
Yeah.
And maybe they were right, and under normal circumstances, you know what? If this was fucking, I don't know, Barcelona, round 5 doesn't count for shit, they would have ended it on a safety car.
Yeah.
I reckon they would have ended it on a safety car. And I think someone in commentary raised that point too.
And this
They're like,
comes
if
down to
this
the
counted for, if this was just a normal fucking race in the middle of the season that didn't count for fuck all, we would have finished on a safety car.
But then that's why I give credit to Michael Massey, because
for
he wanted
giving us the finish this season deserved.
Yeah.
And we got it.
But, our big congratulations to Max Verstappen, who at the moment is the world champion, even though it's being appealed.
Yeah, we'll see what the Court of Arbitration... They can't overturn it now, surely.
They've
already sent out, the merch. The merch is out there.
Yeah, but the FIA Formula 1 dinner is on Friday night.
Which is the same amount of time Mercedes has to make their official appeal, actually.
And they want to hand the trophy to Max at that dinner. So, apparently, from what I read somewhere, the FIA has gone, right, we are going to convene a special thing on Thursday night to get this sorted out. We're going to give you a final judgment on Thursday night. It's not going to take 45 days. It's not going to be until the end of January. It's going to get sorted this week. So get your shit in order, because we are giving someone that trophy on Friday night, and that's fucking that.
Oh, man. If they take it off him and give it to Lewis...
It's already too much in shambles. I don't think they can.
It's a shit fight anyway.
Yeah,
don't. Fuck it. You've already kicked the hornet's nest and fucking don't kick it again. You've already set it off. Fucking you might as well just leave it.
Which also leads to Mercedes are the Constructors' Champions.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Completely dominated the turbo hybrid era. Did not lose a single fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Season. That's good. Good on them. They had the biggest budget. They had the best resources, and they had the best car.
And thank God we're getting away from that next year.
Let's call a spade here. They manipulated the rules.
Look,
No. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Because Mercedes said that if they didn't go to V6 turbo hybrids, they were going to leave F1 in 2014. That's why the FIA caved, and all the teams said, all right, we'll go to V6 turbo hybrids because we wanted more engine manufacturers.
And Mercedes had the best intel on V6 turbo hybrid
They already
engines.
had started on the project.
They were, yep.
So they hit the ground running, and
they started on the project before the other teams had voted.
Yeah.
And even Ferrari, because I think it was Luca de Montezumlo, after he got ousted from Ferrari, said, the biggest regret I have was that I agreed to go to V6 turbo hybrids. We should have stuck with our V8s and said, this is our sandbox, play in it or piss off. So, driver of the day was Kimi Räikkönen.
Bringing the curtain down.
Yeah, but we will talk more about him in a few minutes. But congratulations to Kimi for driver of the day. Right. So I said I was going to have a little bit of a rant before we get into the pit lane points. My rant is against the following people.
Roll call. Let me take a sip of water.
Yeah, brace yourself for this one. George Russell, Nico Rosberg, Jenson Button, and Damon Hill. Not so much Damon Hill, so I'm gonna.
Let me stop you. Think about this. George Russell and Nico Rosberg. What's their link?
And Jenson Button.
They've all got a link to
Mercedes,
yeah.
Which is exactly what I'm about to rant about. They all sat there and said that
It's unacceptable.
Lewis shouldn't have handed over the position, that he didn't gain an advantage, and that the safety car was unfair on Lewis. I'm sorry, but I don't really want to hear Mercedes stooges on my TV sitting there telling me that because it went against their backers and their team that they drove for or whatever, or were about to drive for, that Lewis was hard done by.
I think that was George Russell. He's just left Williams. He's like, I'm out of this car now. I'm officially a Mercedes employee.
Yeah.
That was unacceptable. On Twitter, that was unacceptable. I'm like, fuck off, George. Like, good for you.
If I followed George Russell on Twitter, I probably would have replied with, are you getting a blowjob for this?
He's just getting his nose in Toto's ass.
He's just going to be the next poster boy for...
But the worst one of these hacks, though, was Nico Rosberg, who I absolutely cannot stand that motherfucker. I really cannot stand him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him
and
either.
The simple fact is, he had this whole heated rivalry with his teammate Lewis Hamilton. I mean, how many times did they crash into each other, bash into each other?
A million.
Right? In 2016 alone. Look at Austria in 2016.
Barcelona. Spain as well.
Yeah.
Just quickly on Rosberg, did you hear, it was quite funny, he said something about Honda leaving after winning, like why would you leave after winning the championship? And I can't remember who it is, but called him out and said, didn't you do that? He was like going on about what Honda, like, why, if you're Honda, why would you leave after you've just won the, the championship?
Because that's what you did, Nico.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
It's hilarious that he'd come out and say that, though.
Yeah, but it's Nico Rosberg.
But Honda had that plan for years, you dickhead.
That's
Do his fucking research. They were out of here anyway. Like
they announced it last year that they were
announced
leaving.
It last year that they were fucking leaving, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, and they'll probably come back in 4 years' time anyway.
As an engine supplier, yeah.
Yeah, like they always do.
Yeah.
But Nico Rosberg is just such a Mercedes hack. And he sits there and says, oh, Lewis Hamilton's such a great guy and such a great driver. And you're like, really?
You fucking hated him.
Is that why you crashed into him in Austria in 2016?
You fucking crashed him out in Spain. You fucking bullied him to the point that you won the championship off him.
And
then you fucked off.
Yeah.
And then you fucked off.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting here in the commentary box acting all buddy-buddy.
Yeah, it's just...
You fucking hated him.
That's why I think Nico Rosberg is a hack, and I don't want to hear him on commentary next year. I just want him gone. Even these Heineken ads with him and his dad, piss off. No one cares.
That's just sponsorship money, buddy.
Put Max Verstappen and his father Jos Verstappen in there.
Yep.
They could do that now, actually.
Ralph and Mick Schumacher. Because you can't put Michael Schumacher in
I'd
there,
like to see Jos and Max actually in that ad. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Even though Jos Verstappen didn't win a world championship, but, he did set himself on fire inside a Benetton. So,
Bonus points for trying.
Bonus points for trying. That was a really hot item. But just Nico Rosberg, just stop being a hack.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't be a commentator and show bias.
I mean,
Get rid of Damon Hill, then.
Unfortunately, I love David Croft, and I love the Sky Sports commentary, and I don't want to listen to any other commentary. But being a British broadcast, they're always going to be naturally biased towards Lewis.
And it was the same with Murray Walker as well.
Yeah. As much as I love them, and as much as I wouldn't change the channel to, listen to another broadcast.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, Martin Brundle is the guy who balances it out, though.
He does.
Yeah.
He calls a spade a spade.
a spade.
And he's a lot more entertaining than Neil fucking Crompton. So just, I'm done with Neil Crompton too. Fuck off, mate. I know you got cancer. I'm sorry, but go deal with that away from my TV. But yeah, Nico Rosberg and Damon Hill.
I can't stand Damon Hill.
I used to love Damon
biased.
Hill. Damon Hill was my guy until Williams fucked him over, and then he went to Arrows, and then I was just like, okay, this is bullshit. That's when I stopped supporting Williams, when they fucked over Damon Hill, and he went to Arrows, and they brought Jacques Villeneuve in.
Well, at least they didn't kill him.
And then they went to Mechachrome engines and just shit the bed.
Did you just miss my joke? You bastard.
Yeah, I did.
What
was your joke?
I said at least they didn't kill him. Because they killed my guy. Sorry, Frank.
Sorry, not sorry.
That was sorry, that was dark.
And then eventually I stopped watching F1 and then came back and started back in Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari.
Yeah, I came back in 2010 when Mark Webber was almost going to be champion and shit. And then he wasn't.
So...
But we're here now, and my goodness, did we pick a good year, boys.
Oh, look, this was a great championship this year. It was an absolute barnstormer. Right. So now we're going to go to the pit lane questions. The first one, and it's not so much a question, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So apparently at the end of next year, both Ross Brawn and Pat Simmons, who are part of the managing directors of Formula One, they are leaving Formula One.
Were they just retiring again?
Yeah.
Managing directors, eh?
Well, I mean, they've done so much to change the sport and put it in right direction.
Ross Brawn especially. Yeah.
Well, Pat Simmons was the technical guy who came up with the mock-up of what the cars are going to be next year.
Yeah.
And came up with how to improve the sport by having the cars being able to follow each other. So, what are you guys' thoughts?
I think their 2022 concept is their baby.
Yep.
And the jury's out obviously till next year to see if it's going to be successful or not. I think it will
But
be.
also they're the guys who put in the new engine regs for 2026.
Yeah, they've set in place what they want the future of Formula One to be, at least in the short term. And now it's my job here is done. I'm going to go sit in Ibiza for the next whatever.
Yeah,
I'm going to sit back with a beer. My job is done.
Do you think they've done a good job so far of making Formula One?
I think
Formula One again.
I think we'll find out next year.
I think the
that's as
jury's
much as
out
they
on.
could've-
Yeah, the jury's out on what's to come.
Yeah.
But
What they've done so far.
Well, if this year's a guideline, then fuck oath they have.
Well, some of the things that I really liked about what particularly Ross Brawn and Stefano Domenicali have done in the last 2 years. I mean, we've had to deal with the COVID epidemic.
Which they handled well.
They handle it very well.
Yeah.
But because of that COVID, sure, yeah, we lost China, we lost Australia, and we lost a few races, but we got to see Imola.
We got to see Portimao.
Mugello, Qatar,
We got all these
Jeddah.
I didn't miss the races we lost. I didn't miss.
I mean, I missed Suzuka.
Yeah, okay, I miss
But
Suzuka.
I don't miss China. I hate that track.
Yeah, I didn't miss China. I didn't miss.
Oddly enough, I didn't miss Albert Park.
I only missed Albert Park because I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't miss Shanghai.
No, I think the tracks we've got to replace them were fucking
I
brilliant.
mean, Singapore, I didn't miss Singapore. I know you've got a personal attachment
And
because
because
you've
I-
been twice.
Yeah,
But the track is not really...
the tracks we replaced them with were fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like Portimao's brilliant. Mugello was brilliant.
Qatar
was brilliant. And they're going to be there for the next 10 years.
And then you've got Imola.
Imola came back.
Imola was
Istanbul Park came back.
Yeah.
Love that track.
You know. We got so much in return.
Yeah.
Because of the hard work that Ross Brawn put in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got the best. This year's product is the best it's been.
Well, I mean, look at the championship.
Yeah. This was the best season of Formula One with the best product, the best production, the best fucking drama. You know, as Brody said, I mean, the next season of Drive to Survive is going to be literally unmissable.
Yeah, we've just had the most exciting season, and we're going into another exciting season because we've got the new regs and everything going. So we've had the best season of Formula One arguably ever, going into a new season where we're also excited because of all these other things. There's not a better time to be in Formula One, and if you can put their name to that buzz being around Formula One, then I think they've done a fantastic job.
You're here because of Drive to Survive.
100%.
How many other people are going to follow you when they watch next year's episode?
And
so many people are in now because of Drive to Survive.
Exactly. And they got you in, and we got the best season of F1 ever, and that's what makes lifelong fans.
And who was responsible for Drive to Survive to happen? Ross Brawn.
Yep.
Ross Brawn and Liberty Media.
I think they've done a fantastic job.
They've upped the profile from what happened with Bernie Ecclestone.
Bernie Ecclestone was killing the sport.
Yeah.
And ever since Liberty Media took over,
fantastic job.
It's gone from strength to strength.
I mean, so I was never a heavy Formula One fan, but I used to pay attention to it back in the Vettel days and when Mark Webber was driving and Ricciardo coming through, all of that. Then we went to the turbo hybrid, and it got boring. For someone like me who wasn't an avid, lifelong fan, it got boring.
Yeah.
So I tuned out of Formula One pretty much because it was you're just checking at the end of the year and find out, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes won.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes
by
won.
30 seconds.
Yeah, by 30 seconds. And you're just like, this isn't enjoyable. And then I watched Drive to Survive, and it hooked me into the sport because it showed me more than just Lewis Hamilton 30 seconds up the road and going on about how good he is. And it brought, characters. It just fully indulged me into Formula One. And then on top of that, this season was just incredible. And now we're going into another year where that has all changed, where we're hoping not to have the last 8 years of dominance. We're hoping to have a more rounded formula.
Yeah, we want to have like a 2010 where like the first 8 races were 8 different winners. Yeah.
That's exactly what everyone wants. Yeah,
that was 2012.
Was it 2012?
2012.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because Pastor Maldonado got Williams' last win.
Yep. I mean, we want to see drivers winning on ability and not their car, in a sense. Like
we've said, we've gone through the list, and it's like, how many of these drivers could be world champion? And there's 4 or 5 right now.
Yeah.
Easy. Yep.
And then how many drivers beyond that could win a race? Probably most of them.
Yeah.
All of them but Mazepin.
All of them but Mazepin at this stage.
I'm laughing like him. So, which spins off from that is that Jean Todt has just finished up as FIA president.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to see that. Thank you very
Technology's so
much.
great.
That was my work Christmas party.
Nice.
From 5 years ago. Anywho, so Jean Todt has finished up as FIA president.
Have they announced his replacement?
No.
Right.
But there was a rumor going around that he was rejoining Ferrari in like a Niki Lauda at Mercedes type role.
I thought that was official.
Until this weekend.
Oh.
Mattia Binotto has come out and said, we haven't actually spoken to Jean Todt. He's not coming in.
Rumours be rumours, hey.
Which then leads to a theory. I have a theory.
Mm-hmm. You have a theory.
I have a theory.
Lay it on me, man.
You want to hear? You both want to hear my theory?
Yeah.
I think Jean Todt's replacing Ross Brawn.
You think he's going to be the director of
Formula One?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And he worked with Stefano Domenicali in Ferrari.
if you can keep a guy with experience in the top job, I mean, why does this sport will just keep going from strength to strength?
Ross Brawn and Jean Todt and Michael Schumacher were the guys who evolved Ferrari and evolved Formula One.
So they've got a working relationship, like they know each other.
And Jean Todt, Ross Brawn, they have evolved the sport.
And they're going to keep evolving the sport. That's what these new regs are going to be.
So by replacing one person with another person who's willing to evolve the sport, it can only mean good things for the sport.
And that's all what Formula One has been saying for ages. Like, this is the same format that wants to use synthetic fuel by 2030 and then introduce it into road cars so they can stop using oil.
But I mean, would you guys be happy if Jean Todt took over from Ross Brawn?
I think so.
Absolutely. He's got the experience. Like, if this sport right now is at its peak, it needs to stay there.
Yeah.
It needs to keep pushing the envelope. It needs to keep pushing the boundaries of innovation.
And
they've committed.
Here's a question for you that I only just thought of. In this entire year, we've been we've had a bit of Australian supercars, and we've had a lot of Formula One, and it's been an insane season in Formula One. It's been an insane season in F2, GP3.
Yep.
Haven't heard much from IndyCar, have we?
No.
I heard Roman Grosjean won a race once, I think. Or he got on the
Scotty
podium.
McLaughlin was Rookie of the Year.
That's it.
And Pat O'Ward won for McLaren Aero.
Yep.
And that's all I know.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in terms of overall product, I think Formula One is absolutely probably... And MotoGP. MotoGP had a fucking insane year this year. Formula One and MotoGP are just unmatched in the product and the level that they brought this year.
This year, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just in terms of drama, Lewis Hamilton was pushed all the way in Formula One. Marc Marquez was too injured to, like, defend his title, so Fabio Quartararo, we got a new... we got Netherlands, the first Dutch Formula One world champion. We got the first French MotoGP world champion this year.
Yeah.
Just young, up-and-coming fucking young stars. And it just leaves both sports.
And SVG won Australian Supercars Championship.
Yeah, I mean... He's
and got a video from Max Verstappen.
There you go. Like,
he should be sending Max Verstappen a video.
He probably will send one back because the Red Bull link. So, we've got two products at their peak with young, up-and-coming stars.
Yeah.
I think
I'm so pumped for next year. I'm so pumped. I mean, what a year I got involved.
Yeah.
And to know that next year is potentially going to be even better in terms of, rather than maybe just two guys at the top, there might be a handful battling it out. There could be 5 or 6. That is so exciting for me, who's just come in, and to attract new... Because I think a lot of fans had the same, not avid fans, had the same mentality as me over the last 10 years. No one wanted to watch someone win every time. Like, no, not in any sport you want... Domination gets boring after a while. It's respected. It's like the Patriots in the NFL, right? It's like you respect them, but after a while, you're just tired of watching Tom Brady win.
Yeah.
Well,
you want to watch... It's like watching PSG win everything and Barcelona win everything and Juventus win everything. It's that's fucking boring.
But I mean, like, as a Ferrari supporter, and, Michael Schumacher's my guy. By 2004, even I was bored of Schumacher winning all the time.
Yeah.
But then...
All good things have to come to an end.
But then someone else wins, and you sit there and say, fuck you, motherfucker, it should be Schumacher winning.
Yeah, you get angry. But only because it's your guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you don't want him to romp down the road by 30, 40 seconds, lapping everyone, and then sitting there going, I want to thank my...
Not if it's a deterrent from the sport in terms of fans, because you want people to be excited and watching the formula and be competitive. Like, you want your guy to win every time, but you want it to be competitive, not miles up the road where it's just a procedural thing like it's been with Mercedes.
We used to watch races back in 2014, 2015, 2016, where we'd watch Lewis or Nico lead into the first corner. And
that's
you'd turn the fucking TV off.
Yep. Yeah, you can fall asleep, wake up an hour later and
it's
go,
like it's like watching Melbourne Storm fucking games in their peak. As soon as they're up by 12 points, you turn the TV off because they've won.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a boring level of dominance to try and attract new people
to. And it doesn't help the sport.
No.
No, it doesn't help anyone.
No.
People think we're shitting on Lewis because we're not British or whatever. We're shitting on Lewis because we're bored, we're tired.
Yeah.
We don't want to see him.
No one but Lewis fans wanted to see him win just out of pure...
Because it's their boy.
Yeah.
I've cheered one Lewis championship in my entire life. That was his McLaren drive in 2008.
Yeah.
But I would have respected this one too.
I would have.
I would have rated 2 championships that he's won, 08 and this one, had he had done it.
But I'm glad he didn't.
But I'm glad he didn't.
Because he also stays on 7 with Schumacher, so there's no, he won 8. There's no, it keeps that interesting. We've got a new handover of the guard in terms of a new young world champion. And we're going into a new season where we're not sure what's going to happen in terms of, with the new regulations, who knows? Could be McLaren and Ferrari fighting it out.
Yeah, it could be.
We
could hark back to some heyday. It could be Lando and fucking Carlos Sainz.
And that's what you want to see. Like, I respect what Mercedes have done.
And George Russell. It could be Max. It might not even be Max versus Lewis next year. It might be Max versus George Russell.
Alpine. Who knows?
It could be
that's what I'm
Fernando.
excited for. Like,
could be Williams.
Yeah.
Whoever hits the ground running first.
It could be Haas.
No, it won't be Haas.
It could be Haas. They haven't spent any tokens.
Yeah, they've got all of them.
They've been saving their pennies for next year.
But it's Mazepin.
But it's Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, but it's Mazepin.
I know it's Mazepin, but it's Mick Schumacher. And let's say hypothetically they hit the ground running and Mick Schumacher wins a race.
Yeah, but the only thing Mazepin's going to hit running is the wall.
That's great. That's
or
great.
his teammate.
You can have the team anchor, but you can have the guy.
Mercedes won the constructors with an anchor in Bottas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can be done.
So,
all in all, we got an exciting product going forward.
Speaking of exciting, we want to send our congratulations out to Formula 2 champion Oscar Piastri.
Yes,
it's
Oscar.
our boy from Oz.
It's our boy from Oz.
Who's now a reserve driver for Alpine.
What a gun.
Renault 3000 champion,
Yep.
Formula 3 champion, and Formula 2 champion in consecutive years.
Only person to do it.
And he's stopped at the door because he doesn't have Chinese blood money.
Yeah, and the guy who
That
came
sucks.
second or third.
I think he came third. Like he was fucking. I think he was on the podium for the last race. He looked very happy to be graduating
And
from
Zoo's
baby
been
class.
in Formula 2 for a few
Ever.
years, where
Yeah.
Piastri come in his rookie season and dominated.
And wiped the floor with him. Yes.
Yeah, I think they've picked the wrong driver,
Well, fucking
that's Formula
obviously.
but I mean, Guan Yu Zhou ended up at Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. That's not to say he's going to have a great year next year. But as I said at the time when it was announced, I don't wish ill will on him.
No, it's not. It's not Zoe's fault.
But the best driver was left behind.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Then we get to, well, it was, before we get to this person, it was also Antonio Giovinazzi's last race in F1 for the time being. He did have some talent, but I don't think he was never going to be world champion.
No, he never did enough for me. Like, a lot of people are saying he got out, like he's unlucky to not even see. And part of that is true, but he had 3 years, and I just don't think he showed enough of that edge to be excited about.
It was only once they announced that he was not being retained.
He did a couple of things, but I think like there was a race. I think he put himself in 7th, and then the first chicane he had an accident. It ruined his race. This was leading up to them announcing he was going his last few, and he turned it on. I think if he had done something in those couple races, different story. Might be going, I actually think he had something, but he didn't capitalise, and you got to in Formula 1.
We were talking about that at the time. We're like, has he done enough? And he's like, his qualifyings were good. He gave himself the platform to do well enough to retain his seat. But unfortunately, when the lights went out on Sunday, he was in dumb accidents, or he was dropping like a rock,
And sometimes he was just making himself look stupid compared to his teammate, who... Kimi Räikkönen... Don't get me wrong, Kimi Räikkönen, love him. Legend. Absolute legend of the sport, in real life. Legend. Kimi Räikkönen does not give a shit.
No, he doesn't care.
He does not care.
And he was past it this year.
He's been past
He's
it
been
for the
past it
last couple of years.
Yeah, he's been
And
past it since he got dropped from Ferrari, to be honest.
All you can do is beat your teammate at the end of the day, especially when you're in these lower teams.
And someone
Did
driving
Giovinazzi
for
do
their
that?
someone driving for their life
Yeah.
and their career
Against Kimi doing it for a hobby, as he
doing
likes
it
to
as
say.
a fuck around. Like he literally admitted on the Beyond the Grid podcast, he's like, I enjoy going racing, but I don't enjoy anything else about Formula One. It's like, Formula One's not my life. Like, I go home to my family, that's my life. Formula One is not my life in any aspect.
Yeah.
So you've got Antonio Giovinazzi, where Formula One is his life and should be his life.
Yeah.
And it's probably all he fucking thinks about. Kimmy, fucking all he thinks about is cracking a Crown beer and going home to his hot wife.
Yeah.
Cracking a crown and then cracking his missus.
Exactly. Like, fucking Antonio Giovinazzi, who should be living and breathing Formula One every day,
Vying for that Ferrari seat.
couldn't best him.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why he's out of Formula One.
Yep. 100%.
But then we get to Kimi Räikkönen, the driver of the day. That was his last race in Formula One.
It
He
was.
is retiring. I have some of his statistics here. So he had 21 wins over his career, 103 podiums, 18 pole positions. He was in Formula One for 19 seasons.
Was it 19?
Because he was
He
away
retired
for
a couple.
yeah,
Oh, he did, yes. I forgot.
2011
Yeah,
and 2012.
yeah, he retired and came back, yes.
He only drove for 3 teams,
Mm-hmm.
which was Sauber, McLaren, Lotus,
And Ferrari. That's
and
4
Ferrari.
teams.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
And then he finished his career back at Sauber.
I
even
love
though
how
they're
he
called-
full circled it.
Yeah.
Started at Sauber, finished
Very,
at Sauber.
very rarely do drivers get to do that. So he had the luxury of that. He had 345 race starts
I think that's the most, ever.
Yeah.
until I think Alonso will break it next year.
Yeah.
He's accrued 1,873 points in Formula One over his career. He led 1,305 laps. He had 43 fastest laps, 66 retirements. His first race in Formula One was the 2001 Australian Grand Prix for Sauber, and his last was the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for Sauber. And he has been a world champion, the 2007 world champion, and was the last world champion for Ferrari. And he, not only was he a great driver, because he was a great driver, he was a very, I'm talking like he's dead. That's the sad thing.
Well, he's going to
But we're
be
not
dead.
going to see him anymore.
Yeah, he's basically dead.
Yeah.
But, he didn't like doing interviews. He was very blunt with interviews.
Hated
like,
the media.
yeah, like,
And
what
we
happened?
loved him for it. Do you think many other people could get away with
No.
his personality?
He wasn't.
But
Who
he could.
was saying it? It was Will Buxton, actually, on the F1 TV show after the race. He's like, Kimi Räikkönen came in for 20 years or thereabouts and was just himself. It's like, you couldn't, if someone came in right now and tried to intimidate, I mean, not intimidate, what's the word? Imitate.
Imitate. Yeah.
That one. Imitate Kimi Räikkönen, it wouldn't be cool. Like, there's
I
like
mean, how can you not love the guy? This is the guy that in one of the Monaco Grand Prix crashed out and he went and jumped on his yacht
Yeah.
and took his shirt off
And-
and grabbed a beer.
In
Yeah,
full
he-
race suit.
and-
There's
yeah,
a photo
yeah,
of him stepping onto his yacht in
and-
full race suit, helmet still on.
You
With
couldn't
his
do that
mates.
these days. Yeah, with his mates. Yeah.
on his boat that was called One More Toy.
Yep. Cracked a beer
Yeah,
and
like-
watched the race from
Well,
the fucking yacht.
he spun during qualifying. They said, "What happened?" He went, "I spun." You know,
Or why he missed Pele's presentation to Michael Schumacher because he was having a shit.
yeah, he had to take a shit.
It's like, I was taking a shit.
You know?
Like he was
Or
never.
his first race win with Lotus, which was Australia, I think 2012.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get a group photo after the race, and no one could find him. Eventually, he showed up. He had a Crown fucking lager in his head because he was at the bar. You know, Ben Collins, who he used to be the Stig
Yeah.
on Top Gear.
Mhm.
He was at a club or a pub or something, and he was so excited because he's like, "Oh my god, Kimi Räikkönen's here!" When he went to meet him, Kimi Räikkönen was so drunk he fell off the fucking stool. He's like, "I meet my hero," because they told Kimi like the Stig met you at a bar. He's like, "It's my hero," and here he is on the ground. And Kimmy's going, "Was that me?" You know,
Just
he
a dude.
loved his ice creams.
Yep.
He
His
know,
personality will be missed.
on the car it even had it thank you, Kimmy, we're going to leave you alone now.
Shut up, he knows what he's doing.
He after that race where he sat there and got on the radio and said, "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing." He went and had shirts made for the entire team that said, "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing."
Yeah, I bought my mate Barry R one of them.
Yeah, but for me, the pinnacle of Kimi Räikkönen as a person was, I think it was the 2017 or 2016 Spanish F1, where they had the kid in the crowd who was just decked out from head to toe in Ferrari gear.
Yes.
And Kimi crashed out on the first corner. And the kid was just upset and ballistic.
Bawling his eyes out and the camera caught him.
And so they brought, while the race is still going on, they brought the kid and his father into the Ferrari catering area. He turns around and there's Kimi Räikkönen there. And Kimi Räikkönen walked up to him and signed everything. And like he had a cap that was like a dodgy, like made in China Ferrari cap. You know, one of those knockoff Hong Kong jobs. He took that off him and gave him a legit one. Put it on his head, signed it and everything. Took photos with the kid. Made the kid's day. And
that kid is now go-karting in Spain with number 7 as his race number.
You know,
there was a photo of him yesterday.
There's even footage from the FIA Awards in, I think it was 2018 or 2017, where Kimi is utterly shit-faced. Like him and Sebastian Vettel, every time there's a speech, Kimi is just talking all the way through it. But after the event, Kimi Räikkönen's outside with his wife Mintu, and a car pulls up, and it's not his car, but he goes to get in the car. And she's like, "It's not your car, darling." And he's like, "Oh, okay." But there's all these fans lined up at the barrier, and they see him, they start chanting, "Kimi, Kimi, Kimi." So he's about ready to get into his car. And his wife's like, "Look, just get in the car." And he's like, "No, you'll get in the car. I'll go over here." And he went over and signed every one of those fans' autographs. One of the fans had like a Russian bear hat. He pinched it off the guy, put it on, and took photos with the lad. And they gave the hat back. But he made sure that every one of those fans that was there got their autographs signed and went home happy.
That's the kind of man he is.
To me, that's Kimi. Kimi is, for lack of a better term, a man of the people.
Yep. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about media. He doesn't give a shit about like the fame to a point, I guess, or the shit that surrounds Formula One, because he's admitted he hates it. But when it comes to his fans and when it comes to him just being a man of the people, you probably wouldn't meet a better guy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he reminds me of Jeff Hanneman from Slayer, the old lead guitarist who sadly passed away 10 years ago. He hated doing interviews. He hated traveling. He liked performing. And he liked engaging in conversation with the fans. Because he reckons interviews are, you ask me a question, I answer it. Talking to the fans is them asking you a question, you replying and asking them a question, and it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Kimi strikes me as. He being asked a question and giving an answer was boring to him because it wasn't a conversation. He wasn't engaging. He was just doing PR shit.
And you've heard the rumor. I guess it's not a rumor, but if you don't have a microphone and a camera in his face and you talk to him, he talks.
Yeah.
Like you put a camera, and especially at the start of his career, you put a camera and a microphone in his face, and he gives you a two-word answer, and you think he's just a cold fucking stuck-up asshole. But you talk to him after the race where there's no media, there's no camera, no one's recording what he's saying, and he talks, he has genuine conversations with people.
Yeah. And so he is a legend.
He's brilliant.
If there's a Hall of Fame, he needs to go in.
He's one of a kind, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Then we get to... Oh, okay. Right. So I think we've done all the pointers there.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to bring up was how good was Sergio Perez?
Oh,
Sergio Perez's driving defence.
defending driver.
If it wasn't
so
Kimi
good.
Raikkonen's last race,
Driver of the
he would have been driver of the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz just leagues ahead of his teammate and just top-notch effort.
Yeah, very well done. You know, I think he finished 5th in the drivers.
Yep.
And was just firing away, you know, the best of the rest.
Well,
Speaking of,
we have the driver standings, which, seeing he did such an amazing job last week, we're going to hand it over to Longhorn. He's been having a bit of a nap in the background there, so...
But I'm awake now, ready for my bit. All right, so the drivers...
bringing you off the bench.
So, as it's finished, the 2021 driver standings, we have a new world champion in Max Verstappen, 395.5 points.
Hamilton.
In second, we've got Lewis Hamilton, 387.5 points.
supposed to be biased, but fuck it.
In third, Valtteri Bottas, 226 points. Fourth, Sergio Perez, 190 points.
Good man.
Fifth, Carlos Sainz, 164.5 points.
Well, he pipped Norris right at the post.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that-
said this last week. It's going to come down to the last race.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
where
that
in
they
the
all
sandwich was
changed.
he going to be?
I'm pretty sure it was Leclerc fifth.
I'm pretty sure that
Norris?
sandwich has been like mixed in a blender because
Yeah.
I think they're all in different positions.
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure Sainz was the last out of
Yeah,
three.
Sainz was the bottom,
Yep.
the bottom piece of bread, but now he is the top piece of bread.
In sixth, we've got Lando Norris, 160 points. Seventh, Charles Leclerc, 159 points.
Leclerc wasn't that far behind Norris either in terms of the points at the end of the
No,
day.
that fucking race in Sochi really
Yeah.
bit him in the ass now, didn't it?
Yeah. In eighth, our boy Daniel Ricciardo, 115 points.
I got to say, Daniel Ricciardo. If Sainz, Norris, and Leclerc were the sandwich, Ricciardo really was the
Crust.
no, he was like the mustard on the sandwich. No one really wanted it, like the Dijon mustard.
You can
the
rag on
tomato.
him. You can rag on him, but those three guys in fucking ahead of him didn't win a race this year.
Yeah.
He did.
True.
You know what? For the fucking season he had, 115 points is a pretty good haul. I mean, it could have been better, but
Just
for
need
the
some
for the
consistency next
overall
year.
season he had,
Mm.
yeah.
After him in ninth, we've got Pierre Gasly, 110 points. Good season, I think.
I'm
Very
gonna-
consistent.
I'm fucking looking out for him next year.
Yeah, yeah, super consistent.
Yeah.
And to round out the top 10, we've got Fernando Alonso in 81 points for the Alpine.
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso, like at the start of the season, we were ragging out Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And he really did come to the party, and he also showed he was a really good team player this year.
Yep.
You know, even I think it was the last race where he got on the blower and said, "Tell Ocon to fight like a lion."
Yep.
And
And he did his bit for Ocon in Hungary to keep.
So
Yep.
are we issuing a formal apology to the Alpine boys?
yes,
Yep.
Yep.
but
We here at the PNJ chat are issuing a formal apology to Fernando
and
Alonso and
how
Esteban Ocon.
close was Gasly to Ricardo?
Yeah,
5
Gasly
points.
had a great fucking year.
Yeah, Gasly really. You know what? Gasly does really well in the AlphaTauri because he doesn't have the Red Bull pressure. He
Yep.
doesn't have Helmut Marko breathing down his neck.
Isn't that interesting though? We're sitting here saying how good of a season Gasly had and how shit of a season Ricciardo had, but Ricciardo still finished ahead of him in the points.
I think it's
so-
expectation.
Yeah.
because of
Is that
Ricciardo's
expectation?
resume, you know?
Yeah, with the car.
I mean, for a couple of years at Red Bull, Ricciardo was beating Max Verstappen.
yes, he
who's
was.
now the champion, you know?
Yeah.
So
And, like, I mean, it's McLaren. It's one of the big four.
Yeah.
And you got
Yeah, but they haven't
AlphaTauri.
been one of the big four for, well, until last season, I guess.
Well, they're part of the big five because the fifth one is Williams.
Yeah.
But you got AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, 5 points off him.
they stepped it up this year.
Yeah.
AlphaTauri. They weren't such a junior Red Bull team. They were closer to a...
If Yuki
like a-
Tsunoda can pull his socks up a bit more next year, and he finished fourth in this race, so I'm not going to rag on him too much.
No.
He had a good end to the season.
But
if he can get his consistency
if
right.
he can take that momentum into next year, AlphaTauri could be up there in the championship.
Yep.
Or up there in the mid-card fight for sure.
definitely.
Speaking of the constructors, JB, it's your turn.
Yeah. So here we are after 21 races, or 22 races, whatever it's been. The 2021 Constructors' Championship has been run and won. Mercedes-AMG Petronas take their 8th consecutive title on 613.5 points. Red Bull Honda takes 2nd, but I don't think they're going to be too disheartened on 585.5 points. Scuderia Ferrari has officially well and truly sealed 3rd spot with 323.5 points. McLaren F1's terrible, triple header end of the year is finally over. They've got some regrouping to do. On 275 points.
I'm just going to pull you up for a second there. Is that we've been saying it all year about how really good it's been to see the old guard resurgent. So I think despite the fact McLaren, they did finish 4th and they had a run of bad luck, they're a lot better than what they were a couple of years ago.
The signs are positive, and they won a race, and they won 2 Bonza, which is more than Ferrari did.
Yeah, Ferrari didn't win a single race all season.
And they should have won 2 races.
And they should have won Sochi, obviously, but, the signs are there. It's a platform to build
the signs is there.
The signs is there too. The signs is there in the pit garage down from them now. So that's going to be that fight's going to intensify next year. They're going to be next door neighbours.
Yes.
Alpine, we ragged on you guys, but congratulations on 5th in the championship, 155 points.
They came home strong in that battle.
They really did. AlphaTauri, as we said, they got better too, 142 points in 6th. Aston Martin's got some fucking searching to do.
Yeah.
In 7th, 77 points. That's a terrible campaign.
But I mean, Aston Martin has a lot of new talent coming in
there
next year.
Yeah, they are building.
So, it's teething problems. It's they're rebuilding the machine. Their time probably will come.
Yeah, give them 3 or 4 seasons.
I think Aston Martin's biggest issue, and it was the same with last year's Racing Point, is they keep copying someone else's car. They're not innovating themselves. They're just sitting there going, what's the best bits off this car? What's the best bit? We'll just copy the previous year's Mercedes.
Which is why they took the head of aero department from Mercedes in there.
Well, they've just built a brand new complex, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got
at
a new
Silverstone.
With a wind tunnel, haven't they built the new wind tunnel?
Aston Martin's there for now, and they're not going to be there for long. I mean, in terms of the championship position, obviously. They're going to be at Silverstone forever because that's like $1 billion campus.
Yeah.
Williams, I guess that was a lot more points than they were expecting, at least. And George Russell got a podium in air quotes. 23 points and 8th in the championship. Alfa Romeo, before their 2 drivers sail off into the sunset, 13 points in 9th. And, well, get the wooden spoon ready, even though we've had it ready all year.
Time for their hot lap.
Mick Schumacher and
Pants
Nikita Mazepin, your naked hot lap with your helmets on.
I can imagine Gunther Steiner just sitting there going, fuck this year's off.
Do it, you fucking vankers. That's harsh, intense, on 0 points.
For some reason, I don't think Gunther Steiner will be there at the start of the season next year. I've just got this gut feeling that he's just going to go, fuck it, and
fuck
leave.
You fucking vankers.
He's going to slam his visor down and go, fuck it, and just
he's going
careen
to
off.
Fuck you fucking vankers. He's going to kick his fuck door on the way out.
Oh,
and
especially
he's gone.
when they get to the first race of the season, they've put all their tokens into this new car and they're all excited, and then Mazepin takes Schumacher out.
Yeah.
In the first lap. Oh,
That's
fuck this fucking vankers.
That's at Bahrain, so he just does a Roman Grosjean impersonation and drives it through the fucking barriers into a ball of flame. Imagine that. Imagine saving all your fucking tokens and you get there next year and your car's like still the worst one in the grid. Be like,
and then you put it in the wall.
How many loops does this noose need? 13? Isn't that the number?
While sitting there listening to... Fuck, what's the song?
Downward Spiral by fucking 9 Inch Nails or some shit.
Blaze of Glory by John Bon Jovi.
Fucking Sound of Silence by fucking Garfunkel.
Judas by Fozzy.
You become Judas in your mind. Oh, terrible.
So, that's the end of the season, but that is not the end of the P&J F1 podcast for this year. We've still got one more episode, which will be our season in review, where, because I've already started doing the
Look at
the
you,
format.
you've actually done research. I've only had to do research once this year, and it was hard. So I'm glad you've done it.
So we're going to discuss the teams.
Yep.
And how they can improve next year.
I don't think there's much improvement from those top two, but yeah, okay.
We're going to talk about 6 drivers that really impressed over the season. 6 drivers who really did shit the bed.
Oh, yeah.
4 races over the season that were great. 4 races that sucked. And our favourite episodes that we've done this year.
I think that's an easy one. I think it's been these last 2.
Easy vote for me.
Yeah, I liked the, I don't know, we'll get to it, but I mean, I liked our Imola chat. I thought it was good.
The mid-season one.
That was hard.
It was good, though.
It was good. I mean, the Spa one, because we had nothing to work with.
Yeah.
You just did really well for Spa, hey? Really well.
It's like,
I was worried coming into the episode, I'm like, what are the boys going to
we
talk
watched
about?
fucking 3 hours of rain, and I think we found, well, I don't even fucking remember what we talked about, but
Oh.
Yeah.
It was interesting for what you had to work with.
Yeah,
We
well,
did
that's what
fuck
happens
all.
when you make a trip to Bunnings and buy a couple of shovels to dig yourself out of the shit. We
were-
just sit there, yeah,
we were the Gunther
it's
Steiner.
raining, it's muddy, what are we going to do?
We were the Gunther Steiner on that one. It's just like, we've got nothing to fucking work with here. We've got to make the best of it.
We're just flying blind.
Fucking Vanka.
Fucking Vegas.
Fucking Marco Massi, you Vanka. You should have let them race.
Smash my fucking front door.
That's it.
My fuck door. But we really do hope you enjoyed this episode. This has been an amazing season.
With an amazing finish. We got the finish it deserved. We
Yes.
got it.
And we're looking forward to breaking it down in a couple of weeks when Johnny comes back from his vacation.
Yes, which is official, despite
official.
Mark McGowan's best fucking efforts. You motherfucker.
You fucking vanker. Smash
I
your
hope-
fuck door.
I hope we never cross paths in person, mate, because you're not on my Christmas card list at the moment.
You have a Christmas card list.
Yes, and he's not on it.
Did he smash your fuck door?
He nearly ruined Christmas, like the fucking Grinch he is.
So, yeah, in a couple of weeks, we should be able to get back together and do some...
I might do some research while I'm drunk somewhere in Sunny Coast. But we'll see.
Fair enough. Fair enough, yeah. Be able to do some research and break down the season. Hopefully our new co-host, Longhorn, will be interested in that too.
I don't know. Research.
Just wing it. Just wing it.
Just wing it, man.
No, I'm keen. Yep.
Are we going to have to start renaming this podcast the PJB podcast, like a PJL?
PJL.
Peanut butter
What's
jelly.
Peanut Butter the Jelly fucking podcast?
It's starting to sound like a golfing federation, the PGL.
The PGL, the
PJL.
PJL League. Yeah, maybe. We might have to...
Professional Jousting League.
What are we jousting with?
Jousting sticks.
Is that
Verbal jousting sticks.
Is that what you call them? I don't know. Are we gonna have to roll into 2022 with a rematch show? Maybe Brody's gonna have to tag along
We'll
with
just call ourselves the Haas Podcast.
because we're shit.
It's just going to be a car wreck.
It's a fucking car wreck.
It's just going to be you two crashing into
It's
each
a
other.
car wreck and you're all a bunch of fucking vankers.
Coming in with a lot of excitement, a whole new team, and then just crashing first lap. Straight
That's
out.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of all this. He did this and he cut me off and all that fucking fake.
I'm done with your fuck
Don't you
off.
fuck off.
Fuck off.
You don't smash my fuck door.
I'll try not to smash your fuck door.
So great, we got Masman and Schumacher and I'm the Gunther Steiner. Great. Bonanza. Dreams really do fucking come true. I think I've said fuck more times than any other episode in this one.
Yeah, usually I'm the one with the potty mouth. You're taking off,
Oh,
buddy.
this race was just too good.
Oh,
It
this
was just
season
too
was
good.
just too good.
Yes, was. And like doing this podcast, first.
We all came into this race after the last lap on this podcast last night.
Yeah.
And we just all messaged each other of like, holy shit. I don't know. This podcast would have been completely different maybe if Lewis had won it.
I think it would have been a lot more swearing if Lewis had won it.
If that safety car hadn't happened and Lewis had just walked away with it, I think this podcast would have been rather flat.
Yeah, it just would have been.
I'll be honest.
Like Lando Norris's slow puncture.
Yeah, like Lando Norris's fucking front right tyre. Rather flat, or going flat. But you know what? Good on you, Michael Massey. You fucking pulled it out of the fire.
Yeah.
To Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen for giving us a wheel-to-wheel race.
Gave me a reason to jump up at 1 a.m. in the morning and punch the air. And
for Toto and Christian to go into war all year. For Red Bull and Mercedes as a team going to war all year.
For Toto providing us with absolutely funny memes.
Getting angry and smashing his Bose headphones.
Yeah, that are worth like $600.
Yeah, they are worth $600. I looked at a pair today.
Oh, fuck.
And I only looked.
Yeah, just stick with the beginner, the amateur pairs.
I'm going to go with the Sonys.
Try the skull candy ones.
Oh, give it a shot. All right, I'm done. I'm going to see you boys in 2 weeks.
What a
All right.
season, boys.
Yeah. Thank you for listening this week. We hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we enjoyed making it. And we will see you in a couple of weeks for our season breakdown. Until then, on behalf of Longhorn, JB, and myself, it is goodbye.